Hey YouTube, Twig here, bringing you all an update to my Morphtronic Yugioh deck profile for May 2025. For those of you that know, Morphtronics are one of my favorite Yu-Gi-Oh decks, so as such, I always like to update it with any changes I've made to the deck, with the majority being the extra deck changes I've made for this update, along with just a couple of changes to the main deck for a couple numbers for the Morphtronic monsters, focusing on being able to use the different attack position and defense position monster effects that the Morphtronics have for, depending on the position that they're in, depending on the card effect you'll get for that Morphtronic monster. It's a very fun deck that can utilize a good majority of different summons all together. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started with the deck profile. We'll go ahead and start off with the actual Morphtronic monsters. We're running 3 copies of Morphtronic Selphon, having the excavation effect in attack position to be able to roll a dice, and then whatever dice is revealed for that number, you excavate the top cards of your deck. Then you can special summon a level 4 or lower Morphtronic monster from those monsters onto the field. You can summon out another Selphon if you wish off of that effect as well, meaning you can then use another Selphon for that play. The defense position one just lets you reveal the top card your deck and then place them back in that order. So I would say the attack position effect is the best one to use for your Selphon. And then the same goes for our next 3 of, which is Morphtronic Smartphone. While in defense, you can roll a 6-sided die and look at cards on top of the deck, place them in either the top or bottom of the deck. But with the attack position one, you can reveal from the dice roll and add a Morphtronic card. And what's great is it doesn't have to be a monster with your Smartphone. You can even reveal, Morphtronic spells and add them to your hand as well. And you can only special summon Smartphone by banishing a Morphtronic monster from your graveyard from your hand. It cannot be normal summoned or set. So you have to have that additional resource in the graveyard for you to banish before you can summon out this card. We're also running 3 copies of Morphtronic Telephone. For the use of Telephone in attack position once per turn, you can roll a 6-sided die, gain life points equal to the result times 100. Then you can special summon 1 Morphtronic monster from your graveyard with level equal to or lower than the result. So being able to just have a second Telephone in the graveyard can give you the special summon of another one to then use the same card effect. If you can use the one that was already on the field as an extra deck resource, then use the same Telephone from before to summon back the other one, and then vice versa, creating a sort of loop as long as you have the extra deck monsters to be able to summon out onto the field. Lower numbers include the 2 copies of Morphtronic Remoten, having more of a banish option, being able to banish 1 Morphtronic from your graveyard to add 1 Morphtronic with the same level as the monster from your deck to your hand. So you can use that added banish of a specific Morphtronic, especially with all the ones we mentioned before being level 1 monsters, to grab a particular one using Remoten, and then having Remoten just be the monster to summon out as a level 3 option. One of the easier ones to also use when going into our Morphtronic monsters like Morphtronic Earphone. We're also running 2 copies of Morphtronic Boomboxen, having the negate attack option in defense, and then the 2 attack option while in attack. The big play also with Boomboxen is just being able to summon it off of our Selphon, and then if we have the Smartphone play ready, we can use it to go into some more restrictive synchro monsters like Naturia Beast, since it is an Earth attribute monster, just like our Morphtronic Smartphone and Telephone. We're also running 2 copies of Morphtronic Scannon. It cannot be normal summon or set. Must be special summoned from your hand by banishing 1 Morphtronic from your hand. So this can get you a resource onto the field quite easily. But being in attack position once per turn during the main phase, you can add 1 Morphtronic spell or trap from your deck to your hand, then place 1 card from your hand on the top of the deck. So then if you use that spell to summon back, let's say, Selphon, you placed a Morphtronic card on the top of your deck that can then be special summoned off of the Selphon you got onto the field. And Scannon is also a tuner monster, so you can tune it with cards like Selphon to go into our bigger synchros to help with the deck, like our Power Tool Dragon. I also run 3 copies of Gadget Gamer. When it's normal summon, you can add 1 level 1 machine monster from your deck to your hand. You can tribute this card to special summon 1 Morphtronic monster from your hand, then special summon 1 Gadget Hauler from your hand or deck. You can only use each effect of Gadget Gamer once per turn. So the big play is to obviously special summon out our Gadget Hauler as well as our search for our Morphtronic monster, which can be Telephone, and then having the same special summon option with the non-tuner Gadget Hauler and then the tuner Telephone on the field using our Gadget Gamer for that play. With the last of our main deck monsters being the 1 Revolution Synchron. I'm not big on the hand trap lineup in this deck. You need those reveals for your Morphtronic monsters with these cards, so we're just sticking to the full engine for the entire deck for that lineup. Revolution Synchron just giving us more of an option for these special summon plays as well, being able to use this card in the hand as that material for our monsters to be able to summon out. For the spells, we're running 3 copies of Morphtronic Repair Unit. Not only is it an equipped spell that can be searched off of our Power Tool Dragon, it's also just a great revival card, sending a Morphtronic monster from our hand to the graveyard to then select one and target one in the graveyard and special summon it back. So if we have one in the graveyard, we can discard a Morphtronic monster from our hand, and as long as we have the other target in the graveyard, the one we discarded can be the one we summoned out onto the field as well. It doesn't negate the effect of the Morphtronic monster on the field, it can't just change its battle position. And then when this card leaves the field, you destroy that monster. Also, 3 copies of Junk Box, once again. More special summon power for the Morphtronic from the graveyard, and you just destroy it during the end phase. So as long as you use it for an extra deck resource, you'll avoid the destruction. It's not a Morphtronic card, I would say is the only weakness of Junk Box, and it's not a once per turn either. So if you have multiple copies of Junk Box, you can use it to special summon more and more Morphtronic monsters from your graveyard to the field. Also running 3 copies of Morphtronic Converter. Being another Morphtronic card means it is searchable off of the smartphone. You target a machine monster you control, apply the effect depending on its battle position. Attack, you can special summon a Morphtronic monster from your deck with a different name than the targeted monster, then place the targeted monster on the top of the deck. So let's say you have your Telephon on the field that you can target, then you can use your converter to summon out a Cellphon, placing the Telephon on the top of the deck, and then you can use the Cellphon you summoned out to excavate and summon out the guaranteed monster at least from the top of the deck. And then from defense, you can change the target monster to attack, and then special summon 1 level 4 lower machine monster from your hand, which can then in turn, if you have a defense Morphtronic monster, have it use its defense effect, switching it to attack to then be able to use its attack position effect from there. We're also running 3 copies of Machine Duplication, just being able to use this card to not only have your Cellphon on the field, but then be able to summon out 2 additional Cellphons, and then have each one of their special summon plays after they've hit the field gives you 3 additional targets for special summoning, as long as you can rely on the luckiness of the die roll. And then for some of our one-ofs for the Morphtronic cards, the 1 copy of Gadget Box for the added token play that it can do, Toolbox for the specific equipped spell search, and then the 1 Gathering Light for the banish of a monster you control, and then 1 Synchro monster in your graveyard that is Power Tool, or a monster that is a level 7 or 8 Dragon monster. Target 1 card your opponent controls and destroy it, and then gaining 400 attack for each of your level 7 or higher Synchro monsters on your field for each of your banished level 7 or higher Dragon monsters. And then when an opponent's monster declares an attack while you have a banished monster, you can negate that attack. Added protection on the field using all of these different continuous spells for those added one-of resources. And then for the rest of the spells, 1 copy of 1 for 1, just being able to grab a good majority of the level 1 monsters that we run in the deck, with the last of the equipped spells to also be able to search as possible targets for Power Tool Dragon, being the 1 Different Dimension Reincarnation, 1 Life Extreme, 1 Power of the Guardians, and then the 1 Metal Silver Armor. Once again, searchable off of our Power Tool Dragon, and if we didn't go for the 3 of reveal for the Morphtronic Repair Unit, if one of them is in our hand, we can reveal 2 of these and then 1 of the additional equipped spells, or any of the 3 if we want one particularly for a play. And then as for the extra deck, we're running the one-ofs for each of the Power Tool Dragon lineup. So the 1 Lifestream, 1 Power Tool Dragon, and then the 1 Power Tool Braver Dragon, having all of the different equipped plays, and then the added special summon being able to use our original Power Tool Dragon to then be able to go in to the bigger dragon variants as well. The 1 copy of Black Rose Dragon, along with the 1 Morphtronic Earphon, the 1 Ancient Fairy Dragon, the 1 Herald of the Arclight, and then the 1 Crystal Wing Synchro Dragon as well for the added Synchro monsters and dragon lineup to use with our go-to spell, Gathering Light. And also the 1 copy of Crimson Dragon for the use with our other Signer Dragons in the deck that we run. The 1 Naturia Beast, and with the majority of machine monsters as well. The 1 Samurai Destroyer for the rest of the Synchro lineup. For the Link monsters, 1 Relinquish Anima, once again for the level 1 monsters that we run, just as a way to get it in the graveyard for a resource that we could potentially summon back onto the field with Junk Box, the 1 IP Masquerena, and then the 1 SP Little Knight, with our only Xyz monster in the deck being the 1 Superstar Slayer Typhon Sky Crisis for being able to overlay over one of our additional monsters if our opponent special summoned from the extra deck a good number of times to give us more of a bounce back power as well. And then as for some of the go-to plays in the deck, as I mentioned before, the utility of Morphtronic Self-On is one of your best features in the deck. Depending on the reveal, it can just give you an additional special summon of a Morphtronic monster. It can get around the special summon of Smartphone as well, so if you use it, you can summon Smartphone, then giving you one additional search for a top card of your deck, depending on what you search off of the Smartphone. If you get a spell like Repair Unit, all the better, as long as you have one additional Morphtronic resource in your hand for you to be able to use as well. You can then go for the additional special summon if you have that additional Morphtronic monster in your hand from the Morphtronic monsters. So you can either go for the Banish of Smartphone for cards like Scannon, giving you the Power Tool search. You'd have the additional search off of the Smartphone already, but then you have the search to go into your Power Tool Dragon. If you want to go for the Link 1 play with your Self-On to then use the Anima that you summon out to take a resource from your opponent, you can then use the Repair Unit with one additional Morphtronic in your hand for the discard to then summon out and reuse the Self-On as well from here. Depending on what you get from that additional summon, can then just in turn continue your plays also. But that is it for the deck profile. I hope you all enjoyed, and as always, I always like updating the Morphtronic deck. It's one of my favorites for sure in the lineup of Yu-Gi-Oh decks we've had all the way back from 5Ds. But until next time, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe, and Kira Twig out.